right ahead, Nicholas.
Uh, now it's good.
Ah, there you go. You had your morning hair.
Yeah.
That happens to me too. You get bad hair day.
Like
Wait,
my coffee. Yeah, because I have a long hair, you know. It's been some time that I've didn't had a haircut, so
yeah, I cut
before.
I cut my hair too soon because why I cut it too soon is because it got cold again. I cut it on a really warm day and my hair was all messy and I was like, I have to cut my hair. It's all over the place. It looks terrible. So
Yeah,
I cut my hair and then it was freezing like 2 days ago and I was like, I'm really cold. I had to wear a
mm,
hat. That's what I was doing. I was wearing.
mm.
I couldn't really wear a hat in my class all the time sometimes. But this one's not a warm hat. This is just a normal
Oh, nice.
cat hat. But this one,
Actually, clothing from Cat. I don't know if it's a company for of construction or something
it
like
is a construction. It's really construction. It's for big tough
that.
men, unlike me, who's short and skinny.
Because I know my father also has some like a boot, some boots, so you know
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
have boots too, but they're too heavy in Brazil. I can't wear boots. In Ireland, it was okay to wear boots. In Brazil, I just can't. It's too hot for
Yeah,
boots, and I don't like boots. I find they're too heavy on my feet. Some people really like them. To me, I'm more of a runner's person, or sneakers, or tennis.
yeah, me too. I never wear any type of boots, you know. I really like using sneakers. For example, I have mine from for like when I go to a nicer place, and I just use for that occasion, you know, and others runners that I do.
Yeah, there's different ones. There's like sport ones and casual ones, I guess we say. Yeah, it's weird. I had a pair of Doc Martens when I was young. I don't know if you know those ones. Those ones were kind of cool. They're like big boots. They're like the military ones. I had a pair of them, but they're really heavy. I thought they were cool to wear them when I was like
Oh,
19.
it looks like sandals.
No, that's wrong. That's not a Doc Marten then. What's coming up? Doc Marten.
Um,
Doc Marten is a big heavy boot. So like a military. It looks like. Oh
oh,
no, I spelled it wrong.
I see.
It's with an ENS actually. I said Doc
No,
Marten.
I think I've already seen a lot of people wearing those, like very similar. You know, I don't know if it was the same brand, but it was very, very similar.
I had the wine ones. So the wine ones were the ones that people thought were cool. There's like a
Very.
wine colored one. I had the wine ones, yeah. But they looked cool. I mean, I thought they looked cool actually, but I don't know how cool they were now. Now I just think they're a big, heavy boot. Um, and in Ireland, I was going to tell you, Nicholas. In the past, in Ireland, when we had to go to the pub and meet your
Oh,
friends, there was a dress code. I don't know if it exists still today, but there was kind of a dress code. So like at nighttime, you can't wear shorts, you can't wear your tracksuit, you can't wear football jerseys. It's funny, you couldn't wear a football jersey, but you could
wow.
wear rugby
What is
jerseys.
that?
I don't know. There was like a dress code of being respectable. You had to look respectable. So they didn't like people wearing certain runners. You couldn't wear white runners. A lot of people used to wear shoes when they used to
Wow,
go to
that's strange.
pubs. It was so
Because I
strange.
mean, I believe it's has part of our common sense as well. So you're not going to wear shorts on a situation that most people are like, you
Well,
know,
yeah, that's like a
dressed.
formal. It's weird because it seems like a formal dance, but they want people to look well dressed, and certain people don't want rough people. Do you know what's really strange though, Nicholas? In my city, the people from the roughest neighborhoods used to dress up the most. They were the guys who used to wear
Wow.
their shirt. So a lot of people would go out wearing a shirt, like a plain colored shirt, like a black shirt, a red shirt, a white shirt. And they would always have their nice shoes. And they were always people from the rough neighborhoods. And people from the middle class neighborhoods were to wear just casual, like it was jeans and t shirt.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So, for example, when I went to Floripa, and some days that I've got to see a little bit better of the nightlife, you know, and like the bars and people cheering on them. And it was very common for guys like having like some flip flops or sandals,
Yeah, I do that.
shorts, some like open shirt like this that shows the body.
Oh,
This.
really? That'd be weird. But that's a beach town, maybe.
Yeah,
Beach towns you
it
can't.
is a beach town, so it's very common, you know. It's very different from, for example, here in São Paulo, you know, because if you see the nightlife here, you see that people tend to dress a little bit better, you know. And
Yeah, doesn't mean they want to look a bit better when they're going out with their best clothes.
yeah,
Yeah, it's similar then in Cork. I don't know what happened though, but I think because we have so many foreigners, people are less likely to care about what runners they're wearing or sneakers they're wearing. So they're wearing the sports sneakers, but you still probably can't wear your tracksuit pants at nighttime. That'd be really weird. Or I've never seen a soccer jersey at nighttime. That's really weird as well. I don't know why you can't wear a soccer jersey at nighttime. You just can't. It's like we have these rules. And also, I told you earrings. I know you said you were doing earrings, but in Ireland, if you had an earring
Mhm.
in a man, it kind of makes you think you're from a rougher area, because that was kind of true at
Yeah,
the time. So
yeah,
you're more likely to be in the bad pub if you have the earring compared to the other one. So it was kind of like there was a social class of where you go, and even there was ones that were more Kaipira, because I told you in Ireland we have real Kaipiras. So, like my city has 200,000 people, but a lot of people are from small little villages, and they like to go to the kind of the bogger bars, we call them. There's like the Kaipira bar, and they like Gaelic football and hurling. They be in those
Mhm.
bars. I like the rock bars. So actually, in the rock bars, people used to wear earrings, and people had long hair. So I had really long hair. My hair was down to my shoulders, and I
Wow.
wouldn't get into a lot of pubs either with my long hair. They wouldn't leave me in. But none of my friends had long hair, and they didn't really like the rock or punk bars. My friends didn't. They,
Yeah,
they liked the music and they liked the look of the bar. The bars always looked cool and the music was the best music. But they were like, the girls are really ugly and the people look weird, because they might have some of the weird people would be there. The people who might
yeah.
have makeup on their face, but that was rare. But like men, uh,
From the perspective that I have, for example, in Cork, I don't know if that's the way, But for example, uh, did you have like a lot of options from of bars of night?
oh, you're forgetting, Nicholas. Yeah, I'm Irish. You're forgetting we're full of bars. Listen to this. I'm from a city of 200,000 people. There's around 300 bars, or at least it was around 300 bars in Cork. So you got a massive option of bars. There was old men bars. There was even gay bars. I remember someone said, I was like, "This is a gay bar."
Queer
Cork. That's
bars
so
and
weird.
stuff.
Yeah, we don't really have that. That was normal, but that was like
Yeah.
weird. There was the kind of rock bars that I liked, but my friends didn't like those ones because they thought they loved the music, but you just didn't like them. There was ones that some rugby people like. There was like I told you, there's ones for country people. There would be one for younger people. Like if you're under 21, it'd be better to go to some. Then when you're over 25, you want an
Mhm.
older bar. There was, and then it was just the class. I just knew there was ones for class. If you go to Manga, there was one called Manga. I just can't remember the bars, but those people always had rougher people. Like my friend liked to go to one called Catwalk because his brother was the bouncer there, but I hated it because they played the techno music. It's like doom 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 doom.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is the
That's
shit
techno.
music, and this was for the rough people. Techno was rough people area. So when I went to that bar, the people always looked rough, and the girls were the ones with full of the makeup on their face, and they had the strong accent. They'd be like, "All right, bios are buying," they'd have that really strong accent that I know, and you can tell there's a class difference. We don't want to talk about it, but it's very obvious. Um,
Well, it's really different because for example, like if you get the bars and stuff like that, very near my house here, you have only the bars that are for old people that wants to get drunk.
yeah, those at
And
the Boteco, right? The ones that's
yeah,
like
the
a hole
bootleg.
in the. I call them hole in the wall, and there's only men there,
That
right?
is right. That is right. We call them like pingusos. That's the
Exactly. Yeah.
very old guys that just want to get drunk and forget about life. So whatever. And then if you want to get to know real bars, real like nightlife, you have to go downtown to São Paulo, like go to Augusta, go to those places like near to the Avenida Paulista. And
Yeah.
then you have some types of those bars. I
Pay to
remember
go
I had
in.
a friend from Maranhão that he really liked goth girls.
Oh my lord, yeah, I don't like those. That's where I used to go. Some of the pubs I used to go had the ones where they were gone.
and
I do admit they were ugly.
and there's I think it's a bar, it's called Madame Satan. Uh,
Madam Satan. Okay, wonderful, Madam Satan. Okay, yeah, all
like
right.
this underground club. And I remember he telling me that when he was there, he was like really drunk, and it was playing some music, some music that makes you like just float. And I don't know what type it is, but it's funny. Uh, yeah.
That's yeah, a weird one. But we eat those ones as well. What's it called? Freak Scene. I used to go to one called Freak Scene, and again, it was the rock people were there because I had the long hair. My friends didn't, but my friends used to like the music too. But again, they would think that people were weird in the club. The people did look weird in the club, but I used to really like the music. They would play like what was it? I can't even think of the music, like Blur song number two, Nirvana, they play
Yeah,
this stuff.
that's
The
nice.
Blur song number two is like, da, 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 and you want to jump and you go to it's like grunge music and you push everyone around. And I used to love that type of music and pushing everyone around. It's not violent or anything. Those people are generally fine. But I used to love that. Freak scene was the scene I used to go to. But my friends didn't like it. And they prefer the normal clubs that just play pop music. But you know,
Yeah,
we have
but
all those different types. So in Ireland, I don't know now because I don't go there anymore. I used to go to one, and it was called Nancy Spain's. I swear, I used to only go to it when I was like 18, 19, and it closed. It must have closed down right after I went to it because it was closed for over 20 years, this pub, and it never reopened. And when they were going to reform this area, I don't know if they want to make it into a house or something, they found dead bodies
what?
under the pub. Yeah, they don't know where the bodies are from though. They think the bodies weren't someone who was murdered now. They think the bodies were from like 300 years ago.
Wow, wow, that's creepy, man.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Wow, what the
Nancy
fuck?
Spain's. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then we have our local pubs too, but our local pubs are fine. So in Ireland, we don't have the Pingusu pub or whatever, the Brack on the Bridge. Yeah, I can see their old main pubs, and they're really ugly. They use the plastic chairs, and the kitchen tiles are really horrible.
yeah,
Our pubs actually look nice. They usually reform them. So, or my local pub, people just go down, and my dad would go down, and my sister would go down, and my friend would go down there, and he has his Brazilian friends. He has three Brazilians living in his house, so they go down to that local pub, and that's where you go meet different people and
uh,
chat.
yeah. I was thinking, is there like an Irish community here in Brazil somewhere?
No, there wouldn't be because Irish people. The only places has an Irish community in Brazil would be in or is not in Brazil would be Argentina. Argentina is the only.
Really?
Yeah, because Argentina had Irish. There was Irish people actually went to Argentina. That was the only
That's
place in South America they went. And there's
that's
like a hurling club. They do rugby teams. So I know there's like 1% of Argentinians are something like Irish descent. So every
wow.
now and again, I'll see an Argentinian person, like a rugby player, and his name will be Brown or his name will be Phelan or something like that, and they're Irish. I can tell by their names. And
Yeah.
there's two football clubs in Argentina with Irish names. There's a team called Admiral Brown, which was named after an Irish person, and there's a team called Vélez Sarsfield. They're more famous. But my local hurling team's called Sarsfields, so it's named after the same person.
Yeah. Wow, that's odd, because I know that, for example, there are a lot of Brazilian communities in all around the world,
Yeah,
like
so
in the United States, like I believe in Florida or Orlando or something like
yeah,
that.
there's so much in Orlando.
Even
Yeah,
like in places in Europe, I know that, for example,
Portugal
which
overwhelming.
one, which was the one that I remember that he had. I don't know if it was in Ireland or something like that,
There's
but
ones in Ireland too. Ireland, France, and Portugal would probably have lots. Portugal has the
you
most.
know, so it's very common, even from for example, the World Club Cup, and there's even clubs of teams from here in Brazil are all around the world, like Corinthians, Palmeiras,
Yeah, I seen the
United
Flamengo
States.
supporters. I saw the Palmeiras supporters in
Crazy.
New York picture, and I saw in Ireland, in Dublin, they showed the Flamengo supporters in Dublin.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, so besides that, I need your help with one thing. Uh, I have a friend that he speaks Arabic. And
Wow, that's
basically, when he was in college, just for context, he used to like translate like a lot of books. And what he wants to do is basically he wants to open a publisher, and get all those books, but they need to be formatted. Because he just translated the book from the Arabic language and to Portuguese, and he just translated, okay? And
I
then he just wants to format it, and
I don't know how to do that though either. If that's what you're asking for help, well, I don't know because I've done that before with
no, because
Amazon.
I know that you have the experience of
I
translating.
did it. Yeah, but I did the translation, but I couldn't do the formatting properly because it was. So, I tried to do that too, and it was the thing. The part I had the biggest problem with. But
Really?
maybe nowadays you could ask ChatGPT and it could tell you what sites you can use for formatting. I don't know what I used. I can't remember. But I tried to format them and I thought it was perfect. But when I sent it to Amazon, because I did that silly books I told you, I put them on Amazon, the format kept on coming up wrong before I put it on. And I don't know why. And I kept it because when I was looking at the format was perfect, but online it changed it
Yeah,
every time
because
I did it.
yeah. So here's the thing. I searched it up. I don't have the PDF of example from him yet, but I searched it up, and it tells that even Kindle has a formatter, that you can use to publish. So basically, what his strategy would be is to he has like a lot of books, like I think more than 100 books he wants to publish, and it's all books that it doesn't have. There's nothing about it here in Brazil. Those books are not here in Brazil. They're because there's only one publisher that publishes Arabic books, from outside the Middle East and places like that. And he wants to open his own and start publishing those
Wait a
books.
second. He's publishing from Arabic to Portuguese, or Portuguese to
No,
Arabic, or English to
no,
Arabic?
because he already translated the books from Arabic to Portuguese.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, yeah, because they wouldn't be. That's what I was thinking. There's a market
He
then.
wants to publish them into
Okay.
Portuguese, into
Okay,
the
interesting.
market.
Well, that's a great idea. Even for voiceover, it's a great idea if you want to do voiceover, because people wouldn't have the Arabic books in Portuguese.
Yeah,
It'd be a big market.
I was even telling him that about the courses that I sell on Udemy, that he could possibly do courses to sell on Udemy, I don't know, because there's some books, some courses, sorry, about teaching Arabic, but they're very basic and they're not specific. So he has a very how can I say? He has some knowledge about the dialects between each country because he has been like to Egypt, to Morocco, and he
Yeah,
knows the difference
Moroccan
between
is very different. Yeah,
each language. So he could teach them about this.
sure.
And also he's a polyglot, so he speaks French, Spanish,
He's lucky.
English, Arabic.
I was going to say. Well, I was going to ask you, was he Lebanese, Brazilian? Yeah, because
No, yeah, he's Brazilian. His family is from Lebanon.
that's why I said Lebanon, Lebanese, because I know a lot of Lebanese Brazilians came here. I know a Lebanese
He's
family.
very intelligent. He's very
My
intelligent.
father-in-law's best friend is Lebanese. He's actually born in Lebanon, um, here in Brazil. So, and
Yeah,
he changed his name. It's really weird because usually you don't change your name. So he changed his name from Ahmed to Armando, but he's actually the imam of a mosque. But he's partly crazy though. My father-in-law gets angry quickly, and this man does too. He shouldn't be an imam, right? The imam's like a pastor. I was like, okay. He said because he said something happened with some Muslim country, and he was screaming in the house, "Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,"
yeah,
going crazy. I was like, okay. That's what he
yeah.
says.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I know that he says that there is a lot of families that are how do you say like are I don't remember the word. Are like perseguidos from the
Persecuted.
war. Persecuted. Yeah, that's right. Persecuted about the war in Lebanon. So
That's the most crazy war to read about. If you actually read the war in Lebanon, it doesn't make any sense because it's like the fighting is like 4 or 5 different ways. So it's really weird history. So I was trying to figure out the trigger for the war because I read the books and I watched documentaries. So it was kind of a religious war, you could say. So it was Christians versus Muslims, okay? But the Christians were fighting each other and the Muslims were fighting each other because there's different fractions of Islam. And the Druze, which is another religion, were fighting too. But also is influenced by America. Okay, so they said if you listen to the war at the start, they'll say it's a war between capitalism and communism, which is absurd. I was like, this is not
yeah,
so they said that the Christians were more capitalist, but at the time, the Christians were the educated ones and the Muslims were the working class. So they liked the socialist system. So it was kind of like a political war. But then if you really figure out what the trigger for the war was, it had to do with Israel and Palestine. So the Palestinians were kicked out of Israel and they went to Jordan. And then they were kicked out of Jordan for causing problems. And then they went to Lebanon. But they were Muslims as well with guns. So the Christians feared them as well because they said, oh, they're going to come in and take over the place. And that's how the conflict really started,
yeah.
in my opinion, anyway. But
Well,
there was way more hidden parts. It was really crazy.
yeah. I don't know a lot about the even the Middle East wars. It's something that, for example, in school I didn't had a lot of classes about it.
We
Just
don't
like
either, though.
superficial ones. It's
Exactly. Because when we're in school, we just think World War One, World War Two, and then what's related to our country, like the Irish Civil War and the Irish War of Independence. We kind of think that. We
yeah,
don't go into details because it's like, okay, we can't just go about what the hell's happening in Egypt or Lebanon. It's too much detail. In
yeah,
Ireland, though, we learn about Palestine and Israel because it's very similar to Ireland. We have that conflict, a kind of a religious conflict and land conflict in Northern Ireland. So we kind of think about Israel and Palestine was always on the news. But they cut it off the news because in Ireland around 25 years ago, we had peace in Northern Ireland. There was always fighting in Northern Ireland. Before that, there was always murders. And it stopped. So when that kind of stopped in Ireland, we kind of stopped showing the Israel-Palestine conflict in Ireland because it was causing tension. We see that violence and then we think the same way. So they
Yeah.
tried to play it down.
Yeah, it's funny. For example, I remember that when I was in school, I studied a lot about the Russian Revolution. I remember a lot about that. Cuban Revolution as well. Uh,
Wow, that's weird. You learned about that. Okay, interesting.
I also study about the Brazilian wars against Paraguay.
Oh, the Triple Alliance War. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
interesting
right.
too. I
I
read about
don't
that.
remember a lot, but I remember that I studied a lot about that. And what else?
Do you
Oh,
remember
yeah.
the trigger? Do you remember the trigger of
No, actually
the
not.
Paraguay War? Okay, it's really funny because they
About
blamed
World War One, you mean?
The Triple Alliance War.
Oh, no, no, I don't remember.
No, the Triple Alliance War was against Paraguay. So it's called
Yeah,
the other war. The other name is the Triple Alliance War because Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay fought against Paraguay. But the trigger for the war was an Irish woman. Believe it or not, they said it was an Irish.
really?
Yeah, they said it was an
I
Irish
don't
woman.
remember that.
So there was a dictator in Paraguay called Oswaldo Lopes. So I read this book, and it was actually about the woman. So the woman, her name was, what was her name? Eliza Lynch. Elizabeth Lynch was her name, and she was from County Cork. Okay, so she was from my city, or not my city, from my county, and she was raised in France. And then she married this dictator, but she wanted Paraguay to be like France, not like Ireland, because she lived in France. And
Yeah.
she wanted this dictator to expand his empire. So they said it was her fault that she started the war. And this guy, the dictator of Paraguay, would kill all of his own citizens, and then he wanted war with all the three countries. So at that time, Paraguay lost 90% of its men. 90% of people died in Paraguay.
Wow.
War. Well, yeah, and in the end, there was something like a lot of the people left were kind of half Indian, so they're a mixed race with Indian, and that's why today people speak Guarani. They speak the local Indian dialect in Paraguay
Yeah.
to this day for that reason.
Yeah.
All the European people would have been killed at the time. But apparently, this woman's famous. So I think her bones were buried in France, and some Paraguayans went to France and dug up her bones and brought them back to Paraguay, and they put a big statue of her somewhere in Acuzon in the
Wow.
capital.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know about that. That's the thing. There are a lot of things about the wars, and at least the most famous wars that I actually haven't studied about it. I don't know nothing about it.
Well, most people don't, because I like history. So I know about it because I like history, right? And I would read about people who are Irish as well. So she was Irish. That's why I knew about her. And that's what's famous about the war for me. And I would have read about like Bernardo O'Higgins. He was like one of the military generals in Chile. So there's a football team in Chile called O'Higgins. Like I actually knew it through football because I was like, is there a football team called O'Higgins in Chile? Or
Yeah.
why is Ellis Sarsfield called Sarsfield when this is a famous Irish person? So I'd read the history of those things and find out about them. But it
Yeah.
depends what you like, right? People like different are interested in different subjects.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the history.
Yeah. For example, besides from that, I was speaking to my this Arabic friend of mine, and I told him that my mom has calligraphy skills. That to make wedding invites and things like that. And he told me that to the Arabic culture, it's very common for people like to create arts of names and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I didn't know about that because, for example, when you write in Arabic, you write, for example, I remember
That's the way.
he telling me, yeah, the name Mohammed. But then you can make arts that it is the same thing. You can read as you were reading like a normal phrase, but it's an art, and it's
Yeah,
very famous that in the culture, and you
especially
can
for
earn
culture.
a lot of money with that.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I had a Turkish student living in America, and that's what she was doing. She was doing her artwork was actually just calligraphy. It was Arabic letters. But it's in Arabic though. It's a crime to make an idol of Muhammad. So no one has Muhammad's face.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the devil. That's what I was thinking.
Mm.
They're only allowed to
Yeah.
draw. But in Arabic too, they say that being left-handed is more important, which is really cool because I'm
Yeah,
left-handed. But
because you
right,
write from the other side.
yeah. So
Yeah, so she was telling me that if my mom has the calligraphy, the artistic skills, and she might learn the basics of Arabic and just comprehend how to read like the alphabet, she could win a lot of money, just
earn,
by
yeah.
making some basic arts.
Yeah,
And
You can do it, but I think she doesn't need to learn the language. She can just copy it. You understand? If you knew what it says, like the calligraphy says, you could just copy the calligraphy and make the art.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but I think it could be more complicated than that because, for example, if you want to sell this to people that are willing to buy like a real art, you're perhaps going to have to comprehend how to read, how to make the uh, more personalized art, something like that. But
Well,
I really don't know how it works.
and I don't know how good that market is. I think artists have a really difficulty selling their work. Like again, my wife never sold her work. I told you, but she can paint. But it's like she would just say it's really hard to get a market. As far as I know, that's really really hard because I don't know what you could do. You have to physically paint something, and then you have it in your stock in your house, and then you put it online and hope someone buys it. And that's hard because I think a lot of people don't buy this stuff anymore. It's more
Yeah.
difficult to be in that market. So that woman, so she was an artist, that woman who's doing the art, but she didn't sell anything either. So I don't know how good it is.
Yeah.
That's why selling your voice, my wife sells her voice, so I don't know.
Oh,
Anything else.
I mean, selling your voice, it's nice. I think it's a very nice job. But when it comes to scaling that up, I
Oh
mean,
no, oh no, my wife just scaled right up. I can tell you what she earns.
really,
I can tell you she earns over $30,000 per year.
wow.
She's a high earner. She's really.
Because what I'm thinking is that if you want to do jobs of voiceover, you have to give your time in change of it. So you don't have unlimited time. So if you want to do a lot of jobs, you would have to spend a lot of time doing that, and that's the
It
main.
depends, actually. So it really depends, Nicholas. So it depends what company you're working for. So some things my wife works for is crazy. Like one time she worked for some company. They actually called us. They called us online, and I stayed with my wife. It was in a Mexican company that wanted a Brazilian voiceover, and they paid $500 for like 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That's crazy. And that's what she got in 10 seconds. But it depends on the company. So some might, if it's an American company, they might pay $100, maybe $200. Some people pay $50. My
Yeah,
wife is doing one right now. It's
yeah,
two.
that's great.
She's,
I didn't know that it paid that
yeah,
much.
well, it just depends who's calling you, right? So she's doing one now that's $2,000, okay? But that's a lot longer. This
Yeah,
$2,000 one, so that's ten. That's
that's
like,
still a good money.
yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. It's a lot of money here. And again, $2,000 by what is it? By
But
five.
what it is, it's like a series. It's like some ads.
Well, right now she's doing videos for yoga. So, and it has to be in
Oh,
sync.
okay.
She's doing in sync videos for yoga for fat people. That's what's funny. I was like, what the hell is that video? It's like, woman's fat. She goes, yeah, it's special sized yoga or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
but does she need to like speak another language?
No, she's doing it. It's Portuguese. She can do ones in English. Some people ask her to do things in English, which is harder when she does it in English because she's focusing on pronunciation. She forgets interpretation. So I was like, oh, you read this
Yeah,
wrong.
that's
It's a different
important.
sound.
That's
It's hard.
important.
Yeah, that's the most important part. But my wife has a good, serious voice, we'll say. So she has a strong voice, and she has a Sao Paulo accent, which is important, right? Because they don't want the Caipira accent; it doesn't work. So
Either
you
the
have.
Carioca accent.
So no one wants that. See, karaoke's have to soften their voice because they speak the hard S, esh, esh, and it sounds bad
Yes.
to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
it's better to have the
funny.
Sao Paulo accent is probably better than the rest of the accents. But my wife has done all those things. It just depends what comes up. I told you. Like one time she had to be a fortune teller. Other times she did kids' voices. She read books. It just depends on the company. A lot of time, most things she's doing though is like e-learning. So it's e-learning within businesses. So she'd work for Amazon and she'd do the voice for Amazon.
Wow.
I can't remember what she's done. She's done a lot. She did the voice for Pau de Sucre. She did it for cruise ships.
Wow,
Uh,
that's nice.
but she's always
Was
getting something new.
it was
Coca-Cola.
that thing. But I feel like it's a very niche job. For example, that is a market that is hard to get in. Because
Well, yeah, I agree. You have to have a nice voice too. So like, again, you
first of
have.
all, yeah.
Well, first of all, you have to have a good, clear voice. You have to have
Yeah.
an educated voice, and it
Educated
depends.
voice, what do you mean?
I see, maybe like a middle class accent. Can I say
Oh,
that?
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it doesn't work otherwise. If you have like a ghetto voice or a Kaipure one, it just doesn't sound so good for most places. They won't hire you. So you'll notice that everywhere in England or America, it's the same. You have to speak in that good voice, and then it just depends. You can't have a weak woman's voice because some women have very weak voices and it sounds wrong. Or a man, you can't have my voice, wouldn't work. I have a very Irish accent. It's very niche. No one wants an Irish accent unless you want the Irish accent. And I have a very high pitched voice. So for a man, it doesn't
Yeah, my
sound.
voice is a little high pitched as well. Not that much, but I think it's a little bit more high pitched, you know.
Okay, so it wouldn't work for me. It doesn't sound nice. People want more of a round, deep, masculine voice for a man. It sounds better.
A
So
deeper voice, you know. Yeah.
yeah, it works. And my wife has a strong voice for a woman, so it very works for her. So she's very good at e-learning. But my wife's good at interpretation. So like when she did books, she's okay at switching characters. She reads a book and she just automatically switches characters. She seems to just know and change her voice to be that person character. So for her, it's very natural. Um, So, and she just got it into it by accident, and she only started because I was listening. I couldn't get books in English, so I start listening to audiobooks here in Brazil online. She goes, "Well, that's really cool. I wonder if I could do that." So she contacted two guys in Portugal, and then she's like, "Let me get a microphone. Let's make a studio." And we made a studio, and she thought she was going to get a job by these guys in Portugal. They gave her no job whatsoever. And it was just by pure luck. I told her to go onto sites. There was a site called Upwork and Fiverr, and go on those sites and put on her skills there. And as soon as her studio was finished, she was like, she sent me a message. She goes, look on her phone. She goes, "What's this? This guy contacting me." And I was like, "Yeah, he wants you to work for him doing an audiobook." And she goes, "Okay, let's try."
Oh,
So
wow.
she, the very first day our studio was made, my wife got a job, and she got a great job. So when I say the job was great, I think the first thing they wanted to do was pay like $10 an hour, okay, and then they paid 15 on the next book. So she
Oh,
got 15,
wow.
and it took a long time. It wasn't just like because it was booked, so she was editing the book, and it took and she put on a clock when she was doing it. Now she doesn't get paid that way; she gets paid by words. But they paid her lots of money, and she did maybe 15 books for this company, and we were all kids' books. And the guy who did the books was a guy in America, and he gave her like I don't know if he gave her a bonus or a tip as well. And she was like, "You know, Adriana, we get everyone to do you." So she was the standard for the company. So they got because my wife would be really good at interpreting the characters with
Hmm.
different voices, and then they got everyone else had to copy her in the company.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice, you know. I mean, the perception that I have, it's from like voiceover actors from movies and TV shows like here in Brazil. It's a very niche market, so it's a market that it's very hard to get in. But I mean, when it comes to like doing ads and other voiceovers for other types of propaganda companies and stuff, you don't hear a lot about that, you know. It's so
Well,
yeah.
the niche market is really films. So in the past, it was really the people who were doing movies and TV ads had to be in a studio, and therefore they had to work in Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo. Nowadays, you don't need that. I mean, you can edit in your house, right? There's a I'll tell you, this Audacity is the site where you can edit everything. So she edits everything in Audacity, and she has a good microphone. And then you just need a quiet room in your house. We'll leave a studio, so it makes
Mhm.
it a lot easier. So now you can do everything. She doesn't need to be anywhere. But it's still she can't get into the film market. That's the hardest thing. And she's done some documentaries, but that's hard as well. That's like usually someone from China contacting her and asking her to do the voiceover for the documentary. But she hasn't done it in Brazil. But she's done everything else. She's done so many YouTube videos and
Mhm.
mainly e-learning. She's done advertisements for things like Kayak, Kaspersky, all these other. I don't know what they are. She does a lot of these things. Um, Museum voices. She done a museum voice in Santos for a coffee
Yeah.
museum, and she did chocolate for Lindt in Switzerland. I don't know. She did loads, but she's always busy. She never stops. Like even if she has 3 days off, then someone will come in with a massive project then afterwards, or else she might get a small project for like $50. But it does pay. But I don't know because she tells me like some people contact her and they're like, I haven't had a job in 5 months. My wife's like, how?
Yeah.
You haven't had a job in 5 months? I just like, oh. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe she's on more. I think my wife is on more websites. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's nice, you know, because I don't know if that's something trainable, so you can train your voice to
I
be
think
sound better, like be get deeper, or you know, I don't know, but I think that's a really hard thing, and when it comes to that, it's something that if you have you already have a nice voice, you can like
Yeah, that's what I think. It comes down to
ability, you know,
it's a mixture of things.
it's
So
just something.
my wife is good at interpretation of voicing, so she's really good at that
It gets
naturally.
the ability
I
of
just
her as well, you know, because even from for voiceover actors, that's something that's not common between them, I believe, you know. So
No, it isn't. They're all different too, so you can hear the voice from different areas. It's funny though, Nicholas, because I did it too. So I wanted to see if I could do it, to see if I could take off. No one clicked on me. I had one. I had maybe two clients. I had a guy from Singapore, and he didn't say anything, right? I don't know. His was like a business one. He was trying to make money on a YouTube channel, you know. So he paid me
yeah,
like $10 per video, which was fine. And then I worked with a guy from Singapore, from Pakistan, and his videos are like the 10 best animals ever, the 10 nicest houses ever, which state has the most crime in America. A lot of stuff is really stupid. But, you know, most people, though, I realized when I went onto the channels, most people were commenting on my voice. They're like, where's this guy from? What an unusual voice. Listen to the decadence of his voice. They're talking about my voice sounds so strange because it kept on going up and down. But most people are trying to guess where I was from. Most people got it wrong, though. Most people actually thought I was Welsh. They didn't think I was from Ireland. They thought I was from Wales. But I don't know. My voice sounds strange to people. They can't tell on Cambly, you know, because you're just hearing me as a foreigner. But I'm guessing my voice kind of has a weird sound like this. Like I think in Brazil, the Cork accent is probably closer to the Baiano, Bahia, you know, that
yeah,
goes up and down. That's what I think. I don't have a very strong one, by the way. I speak clearly, but I know my voice sounds strange. It goes up and down. Yeah, so I didn't last long as a voiceover artist, but I stopped working for him because he would only pay me $5. And why he was only paying me $5 was because I was deliberately working for the minimum amount of money just
okay.
to get experience. You understand? So I wanted experience of seeing what it was like to read everything, edit everything, put it online, and it was fine. I could do all that, but it was really time consuming. Obviously, it wasn't worth $5 to do that. It was worth like $10 at minimum. But I was only doing that because I just wanted the experience. And I must have done around at least 50 videos for him, just to have that I've done work as a voiceover artist, you know. Um,
Yeah, I mean it's an ability that it's hard to train. It's trainable, but at the same time, you need to have a certain skill of a natural
interpretation.
skill. You know.
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have that breathing skill. I don't have because I breathe in the wrong areas. I don't have the nice voice. It just doesn't work for me. I can't do it. My wife is very natural at that. And some people are good at it. Like when I was younger, my dad would read me books, and when my dad would read, he was brilliant because my dad has an English accent, right? So he sounds very well educated and polite, and his pauses were really good, and his interpretation of words were perfect. And I just can't do it. I'm more just like reading something. I can't do that properly. So yeah, it just depends. Well, I think there's a market for a lot of things. We just don't know about it. Like you get all those weird fake healers on Fiverr as well. I'll send you magic prayers, and you'll see that person has like 1,000
Yeah.
reviews, and I'm like,
Oh,
what the
that's
hell?
easy.
It's like, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
rubbish. Is that a transformer on your T-shirt?
Transformer. Oh no, this is a robot that from it's from uh,
Wally.
a technology event that I went. It's a so-called out systems. You know,
Oh right, okay.
it's more.
Out systems.
I use this shirt like a pajama. You know, because
Oh right, yeah. I don't ever know. I have a pajama as well. My pajama has Homer Simpson's face on it. Yeah, I have other people
yeah,
call me in their pajamas too.
I went to this event on Paulista sometime that it was funny because I remember that I had the invitation from my post graduation course, you know, to get to know a little bit more about this too, you know. And I thought that some other students from the course was going to be at the event, as well, you know. And when I arrived there, it was just me, you know, and I was waiting for some people to join as well. And then I saw some people joining, and I thought, oh, those guys are from my course, you know, the college as well. And actually, not was just like senior developers that was already in the market, and I had not like I had no idea of the tool. I never worked with, and the event was only for people that are already in the market and was working with for big companies. And then when the event ended and we got to get to know more about each other and to do networking and stuff. And then the guys started talking to me and trying to understand why I was there, who I was. And then I said that I was just there because of the course, and I never worked with the guys were like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And
Where did you learn something? Some people can learn quickly.
I actually did. It was very nice because the people who everyone was were very friendly. We had some chips, some snacks. We spoke about other experiences. I spoke about mine, and people liked, and it was fun. But I never went to another event because it's not like from my area. It's completely
Oh, it's too different. But can you not transfer over? I don't know how it works. I get so many computer engineers, but since I don't study computers, I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. This platform is very different because it's a no code one. So it's like a completely different market, and the people who were there at the event were like already experienced, had like years of experience working on for big companies. They were already senior, even architects. So, and the people were just surprised to see me that I had no contact with it, and I was at the event. But then I earned this shirt here and like a notepad and a little bag.
Oh, let's see,
It
gave you
was
something.
fun. It was fun. The people were very friendly. That was nice.
Well, that's how you. Well, they say as well. Everything is about getting contacts, right? It's who you know. Who you know.
Yep.
It's like my wife got a lot of her businesses. It was who know who you know. You know someone, they know someone, then you get introduced to a new job. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Even here in Cambly, I get so many students who get recommended by other people I didn't even know. So I get husbands and wives, and I don't even know their husbands and wives until they tell me. I was like, I had a woman on this week, and she's like, I was like, oh, you're from PUE, and I was like, PUE. And it's like, oh, I had a student from Piruka the other day, and she's like, oh, that's my husband. I was like, oh, right, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fun.
Didn't
That's
tell
fun.
me.
Yeah, but for example, I know a lot of people like on LinkedIn. I have a lot of connections and stuff, but um, most of the time it's not people that I actually possibly
No.
work with or people that I've just met. And so most of the times it's like people that just got to know and I'll never see it again.
You'll never see in real life. Yeah, and sometimes you don't know if they'll. Yeah, that's not real contact though, right? That's like a half
Well, no,
contact.
it's actually I just left people as connections on LinkedIn that I've actually met in real life.
Uh,
So people that I haven't met, I don't matter because I don't know
you
why
don't know who they are.
I met this person.
Actually, but it's kind of weird. 'Cause I don't know. Maybe it depends on the personality of the person. I'm not very good at that. Like if someone contacted me that way, I never know what to say. But my wife does because she's away with words. She'll just type them, and she gets to know those people really well just by messages. And that's how she makes her contacts. But she's natural that way. I can't do it that way. I actually have to talk to someone. I think
Yeah.
it's a different
So
skill, I guess.
yeah. So for example, even those people that I've met and I don't have a lot of contact, uh, I don't spoke to them. I see some pubs on LinkedIn and stuff like that, but it's not someone that I would be worth to because it doesn't add nothing, no value to it. I've just met that person once and that's it. So
Sure,
it's
but I don't know how that works with computer engineers. I don't know how they get the contact. Actually, some of my computer engineers actually here, Nicholas, ask me, do I know someone else to help them? They're
yeah,
asking,
exactly because it's different in this market because, for example, in this new job that I've entered, uh, I just add the guy on LinkedIn, I made the interview and then I got in
there
without
you
no
go. There you
connection.
go. That's what I mean. That worked for you. And I said it to this guy. I said it to this guy yesterday. So I had a guy from Dois Vizinhos yesterday, and I mentioned how you got your job, you know, and I said that you worked in a company, then because you spoke English, you went on LinkedIn and got a better paid job from Canada. And he goes, oh, I need to do something like that because he was only working for a local company in Dois Vizinhos, Paraná. So that's like 70,000 people in that city. So he thinks his salary is really low and not very good, you know?
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, just go on LinkedIn. But his English needs to be a bit better. His English was intermediate, we'll say. But I
Yeah.
think that's how it works. And I had another guy as well. I can't remember. I had a guy living in Virginia in Miniature Ice, and he was brilliant. This guy had a whole list of things he knew. You know, he showed me his CV, so he knew everything, and he wanted a new job. And I set him up with another guy. I said, I know this other guy who actually works with people finding jobs for people in international companies, and I gave him the link and the guy's name. But I never heard back from him in ages. He was a regular student, and the other guy was my student too.
Yeah. I mean, it's different, but I don't know. For example, like I said, in technology market, I don't know what's going on, because I don't know if it's because there's a lot of different areas, and it's difficult to make contacts that are really worth it, and uh, would be nice to have, you know. So, for example, even knowing a lot of people from different areas, I, how can I say? I never use those contacts. You know, it's
Well, you don't want to be rude. I always wonder how you make contact because you don't want to say, "Hey, I need help with this. Do you have a job?" Because that's what I think most people are looking for. Most people, what I see, because I get students from all over the world, they're all looking for promotions. That's what they want. They want better paid jobs. That's what everyone's looking for. A better paid job, sometimes with more skill, and they need English. So it's international jobs with more money, and they want dollars. That's what they're chasing. But they need that someone to give them the job, but they're all looking for the same
no.
job. So I think they're all rivals with each other. It kind of works for you though in Brazil because I think in Turkey people want to leave Turkey, but in Brazil you might want to stay in Brazil, but you can be outsourced. So you got the benefits that your country is so cheap that someone from Canada can pay you a lower wage than like a Canadian.
Exactly, exactly. Because, for example, $1,000, it's like nothing, you know, for them. It's
No,
like
it's nothing. That's like minimum wage.
almost, yeah, even less, I guess.
It
But
is.
here in Brazil, even if you, for example, here in Brazil, it's like much more than I earn, you know. And even if I got a promotion and turns out to be like
$2,000.
1,500
Yeah, there you go.
to 200 to 2,000, it would be a crazy salary, you know. That's the
Exactly.
thing.
That's what's wonderful in Brazil. That's why
Crazy.
you have those salaries. That's why I was saying Brazil. You see that opportunity in Brazil where you get people with crazy salaries. People make 10,000 reais, 15,000 reais. Like, oh wow, that's amazing. That's like I couldn't believe how much your salary jumps. So even my job here in Cambly, I have an incentive to work harder because when I get paid in dollars, it's worth more. So like I told you, I get around $300 per week. Maybe I can get more if I want to. It just depends because it goes up and down. I don't even know what I'm on now. I could look at my salary right now. I don't know. It's probably around 300 already. Let me see. Yeah, I think I made 300 already, and I'm on 300 already, and I got like 5 more calls today. So I can make that here on Cambly if I keep going, but it's worth it. But if you're in America, everyone's complaining that Cambly's terrible and it's an awful site. They pay you slave wages because you need to make like around $15 for minimum wage in America. In Ireland, you need to make around 10. So it's minimum wage Ireland, minimum wage America. So not
Yeah,
worth it, you know,
yeah, yeah.
not worth it here.
Yeah, so that's a nice thing here. At least I don't believe if it's a nice thing or not, but at
No, it's
least
a nice thing. Well,
it's
it's good.
nice.
But it's good for you, but it's terrible for Americans. So, in Silicon Valley, that's what they said most of the engineers are terrified about because they're saying, I'm making around 70,000 and they need around 70,000, 80 minimum to live in Los Angeles or Silicon Valley area or at San Francisco. But they're terrified because they said, some guy sitting in India who's a genius engineer who wants 15,000 per year, so they're competing with the guy who wants 15,000 in India, and you can get you can get 6, 7, 8 engineers in India for one engineer in America, and it's the same in Brazil. So they said Brazil is the next hot market. That's why they're searching. American companies, Canadian companies are searching for someone like you because they can pay you a lot less.
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing I listen here about Brazil, but I know there's a lot of the percentage of people that actually gets paid in dollars or in a strong currency. It's like very low, you know, because people are doing a job here in Brazil that could be possibly get really higher pay in other countries, you know, even like blue collar work.
Well, that's true too, but it's all relevant to the cost of living in your country. So as I said, living in Indaiatuba is way better than living in Sao Paulo because it's cheaper, right?
Yeah,
And so that's what I mean. It's relevant. So it doesn't matter if I'm getting this money here in Brazil. It's way better than living in Ireland because there's no housing.
true. True. You mean about the quality of life as well?
Yeah, it can be because it's really relevant to where you're living in the city, and it's same in America. Look, you can live in a big American city, and the quality of life can be shit. You can live in a really dangerous area, high crime rate, getting stuck in the subway, or you can live in a beach town, a small beach town in Brazil, and work at home, which is probably better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep, yep. Yeah, that's fun. That's crazy, you know.
Yeah, you
Because
should. It's even worse in China. I had a Chinese kid this morning, and she was 14 years old, and she was just telling me how stressful it is to get to the high school because the high school exams are so stressful, and how stressful it was to get into the university. But this kid was nuts. I've spoken to this kid before. She's insane. She's like 14 and she's deranged. But she was telling me she goes to a special school in China, and they have to do special exams, and she found out that someone bribed a politician and bought the exams for their kids. Okay.
yeah,
And then the kids sold the exams to four other kids in the school, and they were got caught in the bathroom, and they were all expelled from the school. But she said her school is full of geniuses, and there's so much stress that some kids go crazy. Some kids start screaming in the middle of the class and standing on the chair. Another kid got depression and had to go to a mental hospital in her classroom. And the kids get rankings.
wow.
And she's like, I'm ranked. She goes, I did so well in my class. I'm ranked 14. So I'm now in the top 40. And it's like, but if I go into the bottom 10 of the top 40, they'll take me out and put me in the bad class. I don't want to go to the bad class. And she told me another kid, like, I don't know, she was telling me about this weird stuff. She said a kid brought ammonia into school and killed another kid in the classroom. I was like, what?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But this is the gifted class. These are all the gifted children, like the rich gifted well, they're kind of rich gifted children. They didn't pass the exam to go to the best school, but they get pass an exam to go to another school where their parents pay. So it's like a private school of gifted children. Oh, it's so bizarre listening to her.
Wow. Just wow.
But she said if you don't pass the exams, you don't go to the top high school. Yeah, you press the wrong button. Don't worry about it. It
Yeah,
happens.
okay.
And I had another kid as well yesterday. Those kids from Taiwan that I play games with. But I asked the kid, I was like, "Oh, you must be really good at the game. You must be playing all the time." And he goes, "No, I don't have time to play." And even though it's the summer holidays, I'm like, "What are you doing instead?" And he's in front of me picking up his maths book and showing me his maths book at like 10 o'clock at nighttime in Taiwan. And he was doing maths problems at 10 o'clock at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's absurd.
Wow.
Those kids need to have fun.
Yeah, that's odd, you know. I don't know what's happening with the kids, and I know that some of the kids are like, uh, I don't know, I don't know if it is because of they have more contact with like the internet and with cell phones earlier. I don't know if that interferes with the process of development, you know, the cognitive development, because
Well, yeah, it's making the cognitive development worse, particularly in Ireland, Brazil, and United States, right?
yeah,
Because we have no discipline. No, but that kid's parents in China, though, they just forced the kids to not have fun. I told you, so they're crazy. So that girl was fun. She had lots of personality. But the guy from Taiwan, when I first used to speak to him, I think I said to you already that, I'll ask him what planet he would like to live in. He goes, "That's a stupid question. Only planet Earth. It's the only planet we can live on. You give me logical answers all the time. We wouldn't want to have fun." But now the kid has fun. You're right. He'll play with me. He'll joke with me.
yeah,
But it's just our culture. Um,
yeah.
game,
Because, for example, I remember I've earned my first cell phone like when I was 12. I mean, before that, I only had contact with like
but our
playing
culture, basic,
playing
man.
games like Sonic, Mario on computer, but
Our
that
culture.
was all. I didn't have like a really high level of contact with technology. First of all, because it was in a development phase, okay, of the cell phones and stuff.
Yeah, they weren't as good.
And because my parents didn't allow them me to like be all day on the internet, just search whatever I want, and because I know that there's a very huge difference between the Z generation that I am and the Alpha. I mean, I think it's Alpha, right?
I have no idea. I don't know what these generations are. I know they say Z
I know
generation.
that the Alpha, something like that. I mean, I believe it's something like after
Z.
2018 or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know anymore. You see, those generations kind of make sense now, but not before. Why I say that? Americans make these generations. So Americans will say boomer generation. Then they'll say generation X. Then they say millennium generation. I'm just about millennium generation, but it makes no sense to us because I'm Irish, right? So that doesn't, it's not relevant to us as an Irish person.
Yeah,
Only the last few generations are relevant because Generation Z, everyone's on their phone and on the internet, you know, everywhere around the world. So around the world, people are more similar now than before. But
yeah,
I don't understand Americans. You understand, Nicholas? If I met someone who's like, for example, you watch everything on the internet. So someone who's 21 in America and 21 in Ireland will probably think the same way as you about many things because you know all the same things. Well, if I met someone when I was 21 and I met an American who was 21, we would be completely opposite personality. You know, well, we could possibly. We would think completely differently. I wouldn't know what he knows. Um, Now we might do, like if I meet someone else, but Americans with opposite personality to us or think differently to us, you know. But
hmm
I think Generation Z is the same. They're all on their phone. They probably do X or Instagram or something like that.
yeah. That's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, because I see a lot of kids like spending all day long on TikTok. It just fries their brain.
Oh, I think you're already broken. Well, I have to say, you know, I always remember reading saying how many people spend online per day, and they had something
It's
like an absurd figure. But
easy.
I'm going to say it's the same for me because look, I work online, so I'm working from. I don't know what time I'll work till today. I'm at least until 1 o'clock. I might work till 4 o'clock or something like that. But when I'm not working, I'll probably want to find a documentary to watch or a podcast to listen to. So even though I mightn't be in front of the screen, I'll still be listening to it on my other headphones. You know, I'll be still kind of online. And
Yeah,
I'm always looking for information online. So I think, God, I'm probably the same. I'm probably online, I don't know, eight
yeah,
hours, 10 hours per day. No, because I'm going to work 7 hours per day. So I'll probably online 10 hours per day without even thinking about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it's a different thing because you're already an adult. You're already
Yeah, I suppose it's not going to affect my brain.
developed.
Well, I hope it developed. I don't think my brain hasn't developed. Like your friend who speaks like those 5 languages, like, oh my God, how do they do that? I can't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Another thing that's funny, my previous company is still paying for the Cambly classes. They haven't canceled the plan. I don't know what's happening, but I'm just going on.
Well, if they paid for the plan, I think they paid for the plan. They can't cancel it. They'll just lose all their money. So they'll at least leave it online.
I don't know if it's if it is because they already paid the annual plan in full.
That's what I mean. There's no point. They'll lose all their money. So they'll just leave it up there.
Yeah,
I have 3 students who go. I got like 3 students who keep canceling their plan. My wife's cousin is my worst student for canceling, not appearing, and then appearing late. But she must lose all her money. She books me 3 times a week, and she only appears usually once a week. And I've got 2 other students as well who call me on Friday, and they never come to class. And I send them messages, but they're just losing their money. So I don't know what they're doing. And their plan is
yeah,
like for 6 months. Oh, okay. It's crazy.
yeah. It's funny, but I'll just move on. If I stop appearing on the classes, you already know why.
Yeah,
So
unless they
yeah,
disappeared, they canceled you.
yeah. But anyway, I have your contact. That's not a problem. Uh,
Yeah.
but but when it comes to, I believe that if I had to pay full from my pocket, my salary, I wouldn't pay because Cambly is too expensive.
Actually, I don't know how much it costs. I have no idea.
It's like
How much does it work for per class?
uh,
An hour class.
I
I
know
get
it's
paid $10 per hour.
yeah, I know it's 300 reais per month for 4 hours for by month, so
Yeah,
yeah, I want to pay that, even though that I'm almost speaking English daily, it's
that's nice.
a little bit boring, but
Yeah,
uh,
but your level's already at a good level. Yeah,
yeah. So here's the thing as well. I like speaking with you because about the knowledge,
yeah, it's more fun. I've got a lot of students like that though, Nicholas. It's quite bizarre. I have so many students who are fluent in English who contact me every week. I don't know why they need lessons. It's
That's
quite
a nice
bizarre.
thing as well. That's a nice
Yeah, I
thing.
think it's the Chinese people have no friends. That's what I'm thinking. They have no friends. They need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicholas, our time's up. Though. I'll
Yeah,
see you
very
next
much.
week. Okay, take care. Have
Bye.
a good day.